These festive MiTVs are still focusing in on how 2023 can be the best for you, and this week's episode is all about step 2. Hello, it's Emma Mills here, and welcome to episode 208 of MiTV, where the Christmas hype is intensifying. And for most business owners, I know not all, we're approaching a time of the year where there should be a little more time for you to visualize what you want for 2023 next year. Amongst all the social commitments, wrapping up stuff at work, I know some businesses are busier, but for a lot of us, we get a bit more time to actually think about what we want. And last week, I talked about what I think is the most important step 1 of any visualization or any goal planning for next year. It's a commitment to be true to yourself, to do the things that when you just don't feel like it, you're going to get up and do them anyway. And you're going to have that tick in the box every day that Emma is the kind of person that even when she doesn't feel like doing it, she does it. So by that, I know I'm going to achieve the goals that I want to achieve. It's so important as like an underlying base to getting anything done in life. So this week's episode is about step 2 for me, which is really crucial to making next year the best you want it to be. And first I'm going to start with a story of how I was feeling in October. So to say that a lot has happened in MiPA this year would be a very big understatement. We've grown, but as part of that, lots of things have changed, things have happened that I would never have anticipated or expected. We've made lots of mistakes, we've done lots of good things, and by October this year, I was feeling on a daily basis pretty, what's the right word, not passionate about going to work is probably a good phrase for it, and mainly not feeling like I was getting any downtime. The evenings still felt like work, the weekends still felt like work. And no matter how much I would try to go, okay, well, I'm not working this weekend, or don't need to open my laptop, I never escaped that feeling. And so there came a point in mid-November where I seriously had to look at why I was constantly feeling like this, because it was impacting my own personal life. It was impacting how effective I was at work, because it was this kind of constant feeling of always being on. Now, don't get me wrong, I know what I signed up to in that, having your own business, there's always something that's happening, but it's really, really important to have recharge time and to spend that well. And I wasn't spending my recharge time well at all. I was completely on another planet of stress, not enjoying it. So in November, I spent some time to really think about what was going on. And I realized that there were 3 things, and I'm going to communicate them to you today. I want to tell you about them because I think they're really key to, again, making 2023 the best year. And I want you to learn from my mistakes. So number 1, I totally realized that so next year I also want to plan 2023. I want to do much bigger things than we've done this year. I've got plans to grow, I've got plans to add new services, products. And I realized that number 1 of my problems was that I was so overwhelmed mentally by what I want to achieve that it was stopping me. So what I mean by that is, so let's say, for example, if we want to double the business next year in terms of turnover or profit, or we want to add new services, want to buy a business, all the things that are on my list, I was becoming so overwhelmed by the where we are now to where we want to get to. The 2 different points just seemed so far apart, but the key bit was the bit in between to get from here to there was absolutely paralyzing me. We've done good stuff really good stuff. Like the business is in a completely different place over the past couple of years. And obviously we've got there step by step by making mistakes, by implementing stuff. And I know, I talk about this stuff every single week. I know that things get done by just implementation, one after the other, not by big, massive effects. It's by the stuff every single day. And I am an impatient person, and I am also quite self-critical, and I want to do well, and I want to keep challenging myself. But I had become so overwhelmed by what here to there looks like. It was just giving me anxiety because I want it, I want to achieve it. So point number 1 is that I had completely, for some reason, got rid of the fact that to achieve what we want to achieve next year is lots of different tasks of the whole team together implementing them, reporting on them, feeding back. And all I was focused on was this end point of 2023. And the gap between it just seemed so big. So what I realized is you have to visualize yourself as the person that is going to achieve it. Like there has to be an element of, okay, let's say, for example, I want to buy a business next year. You have to visualize and it's not just about this is going to happen. I'm not talking about the secret. I'm not talking about laws of attraction. I'm talking about that you visualize that, yeah, I'm capable of doing that. And okay, I guess I don't know it all and I'm going to learn things along the way. I've learned so much and we all do all the time. But once you like get back to that point of, okay, well, this is what I want to achieve. I don't know how to get there right now. I don't know all the moving parts of what we'll need to do. I'll probably need to learn new skills. I might need to hire someone new. I might need to get somebody that can help us do something. Like all of those things obviously are part of the plan, but it's really important to visualize that whatever is in this plan, that you're going to get it done. Like, okay, I'll just learn and I'll figure it out. Because where I had gotten to in October, I realized was that I was just visualizing what I dream about, which is like the building with my PA's name on the front, you know, and I visualize about the big things. And that's important. But if you get to the point of overwhelm where you're like, well, I want it, but it seems so far away, I was paralyzing myself. So you have to visualize you are the person to achieve these things. So every single morning when I take Ralph on my dog walk, I listen to like some good stuff. You have to start the day with good stuff in your ears. Whether that's Tony Robbins or Brendan Burchard or whatever podcast you like. I might dream about or think about the things I want to achieve, but I just think about them as like, yeah, well, we're going to get them done and we'll find the way. So point number one is you have to visualize yourself as the person that's going to achieve whatever it is that's on your list. And there is an amazing quote from Earl Nightingale which sums this up for me, which is never give up on a dream just because of the time it will take to accomplish it, because the time will pass anyway. And for that for me summarizes how I was feeling, in that I've got big dreams. I put impatience on myself and also get hung up on how like the nitty-gritty of achieving it, when actually you are going to find your way. The time's going to pass. Each day you're going to learn the new skills. You're going to solve the problems to get there. So don't overwhelm yourself with what the bigger picture might look like. It's great, it's there, and then you will find the way, the plan, all the little tasks that make up the bigger picture. And reason number two why I felt so unpassionate about my business, and this only comes about by stopping to do the deep thinking of why do I feel like this, which I highly recommend to have just thinking time, whether it's when you walk the dog, whether it's in the shower. You just need time to stop and think, because that's when you're not looking at all of these distractions is when you get creative and you solve problems. But reason number two is that, every single time there is a task that comes up or something we want to do, it goes in our Asana. So Asana is our project management tool. It doesn't matter what you use, but wherever you have your to-do list. And we see this lots with loads of clients, whether it's their inbox, whether it's a to-do list, is that there are lots and lots of things in there. So I realized that every time I opened my laptop, I was just faced by what overdue thing am I doing next? And so the feeling was never leaving me. Like when I left work and got home, I would do whatever I was doing, like go to the gym, figure out what we're having for dinner. And then after dinner, while we're watching something, I'd open my laptop and try and make some headway with something. And I realized it's completely stupid. Like I was giving my sense this feeling of overwhelm. Now, again, I've said in last week's episode, in this episode, I know there are lots of things to do to get to where I want to go, but we can only do a certain amount. We can only focus on so many things at one time per day. So what I do now, and I highly recommend, is that you just focus on 3 things every single day. This is where I'm at now. So I still have tasks in my Asana. They don't have due dates on them. A lot of them sit in projects for me to pick up when I have focus times. So generally I'll have 2 hours booked out from like 8 till 10 to just focus on working on the business. And in that time, I will have prioritized 2 or 3 tasks to work on. So every single day, I just have 3. I just need to get those 3 things done. If there is time for other things, amazing. So for example, yesterday, my 3 things to focus on were, number 1 was finish my prep for MiTV, like just spend some time to, what did I want to talk about? How can I help you best? What was my plan for the filming? Like just focus on MiTV. My second thing was on a Monday, we have lots of internal meetings in the afternoon. These are like our prep meetings for the week ahead, report on the numbers. It was just to focus on getting the meetings done really well, like being present, being energetic, leading the team, challenging them, just to be in the meetings and not be thinking about the next thing that I need to do while I'm sat in the meeting. And the third thing was that I need to write a job description for a new role that's appearing in the business. Now, I got more things done than those three, but every single day now I have a note of the three things I've picked that's important to focus on. So for example, tomorrow I've got one-to-ones coming up with the team before the end of the year. So tomorrow, one of my things is just to prep and focus on the one-to-ones and do them really, really well, and give the person that I'm sat in front of at that time my everything, prepped for it, be ready for it, know how I want the one-to-one to, like the things to talk about, like just to do that well. So as part of the 2023 goal planning, I would really advise you to move to, of course, every time you have an idea, you need to do something, note it down, put it in your to-do list, wherever that is. But before the end of the day, just pick 3 things that you need to get done tomorrow. And the sense of achievement of when you do the 3 things, it's absolutely alleviated my overwhelm of in the evening, trying to do a bit more, trying to catch up, trying to push another task through, trying to just do this bit, I can get that done before we go to bed. Just having my 3 things and doing them really, really well and giving them my all has totally transformed my evenings and weekends and how I was feeling about progressing through the business. And the third thing that really helped me get my mojo back into enjoying work throughout the day, but not feeling the need to open my laptop every single night when I got home or every single weekend, is to allow yourself the grace to celebrate the wins when you get a task done. So in step 2, I just started focusing on 3 things I wanted to do really well and get them done. And step 3 was actually acknowledging, celebrating, saying like, okay, I've just written that job description, happy with it, I'm going to send it off to my ops manager, planned the content for MiTV, and whatever it is that I'm actually like, right, I've done these 3 things, I am 3 steps closer to what I need to achieve. Whereas before, I just had lots of overdue, half-done tasks that I kind of want to do everything at once, and it's not possible. So my 3 steps in this episode are being honest with yourself that your overwhelm might come from visualizing everything at once and trying to figure out how you're going to get there, when actually you just need to visualize yourself as the person who's going to achieve what you want, like it's happening, and you are excited to find out the way, to make the plan, to make the mistakes, to learn how you're going to get there. You have to visualize yourself that I am the person that's going to achieve it. And how I get there, I don't know yet, but this is part of life. This is part of the journey. Step 2 is to get rid of a massive to-do list that faces you every day. You'll have this list and it'll be somewhere for you to pick tasks out of, but just have a focal point, whether it's a post-it on your laptop, whether it's just 3 tasks due that day, whether it's an email to yourself that I'm just going to do these 3 things today, by hook or by crook, that's it. I'm not going to put pressure on myself to get 10 zillion things done inside 24 hours, just 3. And then when you do them, just celebrate the win of like, okay, I've done those 3. What are my 3 I'm going to do tomorrow? And that is the way that you keep chipping away, that you get these things done. And these 2 episodes, like this week and last week, where we were talking about doing what you say you will do, even when you don't feel like it. For me, all these 4 steps together, it's about enjoying the journey. So, you know, as Earl Nightingale says, time is going to pass anyway. So we need to enjoy what we're doing, even though the road is pretty much like this a lot of the time. So let's make this manageable for ourselves. Let's not hate on ourselves for wondering how we're going to get there. Let's chop it up into bite-sized chunks, have the end goal in mind, but enjoy what we're doing along the way. I hope today's episode of MiTV was super useful for you, and I'll see you next week for episode 209. See you later.